Okay, now this card, in the picture I have it going vertical, but I decided I'm going to change it up to doing it on a horizontal, which is fine. You can do it either way. I just thought I'd do it this way because it's giving it more of a landscape. So this is your thick basic white at 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. And I need to trim this down. Yeah, that's right, 4¼ by 5½. This looks awful big. All right, and then we're going to use the raindrop paper. And this is 4 by 5¼ and we want to have our raindrops coming down. Yeah, so let's go ahead. We're going to add some adhesive to this. We'll go ahead and get this on here. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to attach this, and then we're going to punch a hole out with the bunny rabbit punch, and we're going to color the piece of the white and attach that to the inside of the card where the hole is, okay? Does that make sense? All right, so we're going to place this on here. We want to get our paper lined up. Let's get all that in here straight. My cardstock's off just a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Let's try that a little bit more. Okay, so we've got our cardstock with our rain paper coming down. Now we're going to take our bunny punch, and I am going to punch out just in this corner. Doesn't have to be anywhere big, but we want to leave room because I don't want it close to the bottom. So I'm going to place it right about here. I'm just going to get it up a little bit so we've got the paper. And of course it's double, so we're going to punch it, and we're going to have to push really hard to get that to go through, right? Because we're doing 2 sheets. All right, so there is our rabbit. And we're going to place him right in here so he pops through. So let's punch our bunny rabbit. This way we know we'll have it right. Let's go ahead and color him in. We'll do all of that before we punch him out. How's that? All right, so let's go ahead and get we're going to do basic crumb cake again. Now you can use whatever colors you'd like. You can use gray if you want the bunny rabbit to be gray. It's whatever you would like to do. So I'm going to come in with my dark, and I'm going to, if I can get it. So let's take this dark and see if we can get, there we go. We'll get this one opened. All right, so we're going to just do some shading, and I'm just going to come around, and we'll do a little bit over here. We'll make sure we do his nose and his mouth and whiskers. And we want to do this down here and his feet. Okay, so we're going to come around. All right, so let's go ahead and cover this one up, and then we're going to come back with our light. And we should be able to use our tip, and we're going to go ahead and start blending. So I'm using the larger tip. Now the only issue with that is it will start to flatten if you press too hard, but that's okay. So we're just going to come around. I always try to do a little bit of an outline so I don't go outside. And you know, we can make his tail white if we wanted. If we want to have a white tail, we can do that. Let's not color it, and we'll use some white. I'm going to do some shading right through there as well, probably in his legs, because these are going to be a little bit darker because they're kind of under his body. I think we'll color his tail. We'll use our white chalk marker, and he'll have a white tail. And we'll just come in with this. I'm just going to flip this over. We may leave a little bit of white, little spots throughout. Now I'm using the big tip, which I should be using the little tip, so I'm just going to go real light so I can get it in there. All right, now I'm going to come back with a little bit more dark, because I want to give him some shading. So I think I want to do a little bit here, and then definitely want to do this a little bit darker. And let's give him, okay, let's see, I'll give this guy right here. All right, do a little bit more coloring and blend this in. We're going to use the big tip again, so we're just going to kind of pull that ink up. We're just going to pull that ink down. And you can keep coloring if you want, depending on how dark you want your rabbit. You can color and color and color, or just pick up different brown colors if you want. If you don't want to use crumb cake, then just pick another color. All right, and that gives it a little bit of shading there. And let's color his tail white. Let's do his little ear. And again, we're going to use the petal pink. He's got the inside of his ear. And then let's color his tail with the chalk marker. And this will just give it a little bit of a white look, because it's coloring that chalk in there. You just want to kind of stay away from the black line because obviously it's going to color it. So there we go. He's got a little white bunny tail. All right, now we can punch him out. This would be a lot easier. So let's do that. We're going to get him lined up in the punch. You know, we always get a little bit particular, right? So we'll just set this off to the side here. So now we have our bunny. Okay, so what the next step that we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and apply. Let's see, we want to put the bunny, we're going to place him right inside the hole there so we know exactly where he goes. We're going to lay him flat. We're not going to pop him up. Get some on his tail. Okay, so I'm going to get my tweezers out because that's going to help hold him while I shut the card so that we can make sure we get him where he needs to go. His tail over there a little bit. I think that's going to look good. Yep, I think that's it right about there. There we go. All right, so we're going to push that down. All right, so we've got him attached to the inside. Now we've got some clouds, and you can use whatever punches you have. I have a cloud punch. I'm just going to lay this on here. I'm going to trim that off. So I'm just going to add a couple of little clouds up here since it looks like it's raining. These might be a little bit large, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to add, actually, this is a punch that's not really a cloud. It's like a label punch, but I think it looks like a cloud, so that's why I chose it. So I'm going to place this one right about here, and I'm going to trim that off on the edge. And then this one, we'll put him down a little bit. I may trim him. We'll put him up here like that. How's that? That way they're not too... All right, so we'll get those on there, and then we'll just take our paper snips, and we're just going to come along and just snip off that part of the cloud, right? And then that way... All right, so we got our clouds on there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp on some scrap paper, which I happen to have right here. And we're going to stamp, there's a series of eggs. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. There's a series of eggs in the stamp set that we're going to use. So we're going to stamp a couple of these. We're going to color them, and then we're going to fussy cut them out. I know, more fussy cutting, right? So we're going to get some of those on here. So we just got just enough room. Look at that. And we're going to cut these out, and then we're going to place them inside and outside our card. So I just chose Balmy Blue, some of the Petal Pink, and Old Olive. You can choose whatever colors you want. If you want to do yellow, you know, we could choose some yellow if we want to do that. Let's do a little bit of yellow. Let's pull in some light saffron. Okay, so we're just going to color away. And it really doesn't matter how you want to do it. So let's see. This is dark balmy. So let's just start in here. I think this one I'll just do the squares. We'll do some up. I'll come down here and do that one. We'll do this one, and we'll do this one. Okay, so we have our eggs. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in our card, and we are going to place some eggs around the bunny on the front, and then we're also going to stamp the letter hi, or the word hi. So we'll do several, we'll kind of get them so they're different, not all the same colors. I'll put some like that. Have the Easter eggs kind of behind him. And why don't we, so let's go ahead and do it flat. Let me go ahead and get all my adhesive on here. And you can use glue dots if that's going to be easier for you. Whatever works, it doesn't really matter. So let's just go ahead and start placing these guys on here. Let me get my snips, or get my tweezers. That way I'm not picking up the glue. So let's put these guys right about there. And this is the same color. So we're going to leave room. I'm going to put this right here. And then we're going to put the olive one on the inside. So he's going to be sitting right on top of them. We're going to do like that. Okay, so there's the front. And we're going to finish that because we got to put our sentiment up there. And then we'll do the same thing on the inside. Let me see. How many more do we have? We have 3, 4, 5. Oh, we got extras. So we have one there, one there. We can add another green one. Let's do that. Let's add one more green. Add him to the front. We'll put him on the opposite end. We'll put him over here. where he's kind of, that way it kind of takes up that space. All right, so let's go ahead and put these, we're gonna put these right underneath the rabbit. Here's a tip for you. I'll just share something. My dog, we call her Rabbit because her nickname, because when she walks through the grass, she doesn't walk, she tends to hop. So every now and then we'll go, come on, Rabbit. So that's a fun fact. All right, so we're gonna put some eggs here. It's gonna cover up his leg, but that's okay. And then we'll put some, let's see, we'll put the green one in between like we did the other one. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're gonna put him a little bit at an angle. No, let's turn him this way because the other one's going that way. And then let's put these right over here. And then that kind of covers up that. All right, and you can add more if you want, but I think that's good. So there you go, and you can see the eggs there, but that's all right. We're gonna put some ribbon on here. Okay, so we're gonna take our ribbon. We're gonna tie a small bow. Now you can trim this down if you like. I'm just gonna leave it. I don't think it's gonna be too big. If it is, we can cut it in half and just trim off the white if you want to do it that way. But I think we'll just tie a bow. Now you can always do bunny ears and then just wrap them around, and then you can make your bow as big or as small as you like. So you just tuck it under and pull it through. But I do it this way. Not saying that this is right or wrong, but I find that this is sometimes easier. So as soon as I grab that piece, then we pull. And this is where I always struggle because my fingernails get in the way. Sometimes I have to make it bigger so I can get into it. There we go. All right, so now we can make this smaller. Just pull your tails, hold the center, and we want to get this twisted. And we're gonna pull it, and then we're gonna pull it down to make it a little bit smaller bow. And then as we pull it, it's gonna make it bigger anyways as we tighten it, right? So I'm just gonna go like that. And that's that. We'll pull this one down just a tad, and then pull it out just a little bit more. Trim up our tail. We're gonna put this right about here. And you can see the eggs under there. Now, if you don't want your eggs right there, you can move them, set them off so they don't show, but I think that's okay. All right, and then this one, we are gonna add the glue dot. I've got some right here that I use from the paper pumpkin. So we'll just stick one. Actually, I'm gonna put a couple on here. So we'll take one of those off, and we'll just, so you always, if you get the paper pumpkin, don't forget you have these in there as well, so you can use your glue dots. I usually put a couple of them on when we're doing the ribbon, or you can attach the glue dot to the actual paper and then just add your bow. So we're just gonna put that right about there. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp our sentiment. We're gonna use the word hi. And we're gonna stamp that on a piece of scratch paper. And I'm gonna use you can use your layered circle punches. I'm using a 3/4 inch layered. This is retired. I always keep my circle punches because you never know when you're gonna need one. All right, so we're gonna put hi on there. We're gonna pop this up on a dimensional, and we're gonna attach that. I stamped it on there earlier, so you're gonna see a little piece of it right here. We'll just put hi. All right, there you go. Isn't that cute? And then you open this up, and then there's the bunny with his little eggs underneath, and then you can write whatever message that you have. All right, there you go, and we will see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.